Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Talk Forex. I hope you all had a very good week in the markets last week and you managed to make some nice profits. What we're going to do in this morning's show, as we do with every single Talk Forex, is go through all of the different currency pairs and look at what could be presenting itself for the week ahead. So basically, we're looking for opportunities that we can take in the Forex markets. We do this primarily via technical analysis, so we'll be looking at the charts and studying chart patterns, chart structure. The one thing that everybody has to bear in mind is all of these webinars here are done for educational purposes only. You're not to take any of this as trading advice. If you like the idea of anything that we talk about, then you still have to go away, look at the chart for yourself and decide whether or not it's a good opportunity. Make sense? Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump over to the charts and start looking at the opportunities that could be presenting themselves. We start off with the Aussie Cad here. So as we can see on the Aussie Cad, if we zoom in a little bit, we'll zoom out a little bit rather, we can see that the Aussie Cad is certainly in an uptrend. So we've got a low here, a high here, we've got a higher low there, and the market looks like it wants to push up and make another higher high. So we've been looking to buy this for quite some time now. And the opportunity that we like in the Aussie Cad is this one here where it's pulling back. If you take a look, let's zoom out a little bit further. So the market is pulling back here to this previous level of resistance over there in the past, which could now act as support. And that's what we want to buy. We actually tried to buy this on last week, on Thursday or Friday of last week, but the markets came down and literally missed our entry by a few pips, which is a little bit frustrating, but it looks like the market is coming back and will give us another opportunity to get involved in this trade at the low. So we're looking to get involved in this at around the 1.0028 area, and that is where we will ultimately look to get long. Where will we want the market to trade to? It doesn't need to do anything spectacular. It can literally just, hold on, it can literally just trade up to this area here, so this resistance at 1.0100. If it can trade up to that area there, that's going to be more than enough for us to take profit. So we'll be getting in here at 1.0027, look for about a 70 pip move up to these highs there, that's where we'll take profits. On the Aussie New Zealand, this one's had a nice momentum move to the upside. It's pulling back here. We've identified this level for quite a few weeks now, the 1.0747. So around this area here is where we really want to get long. It's pulling back here because this previous level of resistance could now act as support. If we look at it on the 4-hour chart, we can see that the 4-hour has now pulled back somewhat. We have this resistance level in here at 108.73, which looked like a half decent level, but after a massive momentum move like this, if I zoom out a minute, you do expect a little bit more of a pullback. So you don't want it to just kind of pull back a little bit and then go off again. You expect more of a pullback. So when people are getting involved at this level here, getting really happy, we're kind of like, well, let's just hold on a minute, because after a momentum move like that, there needs to be an element of price acceptance, and that doesn't seem to have taken place yet. That's why we waited for the significant structure level to be hit rather than kind of chase the market and get involved in anything. Okay, so we're waiting for this area over here because we want to take the high probability trades, right? We want to take the ones that just make sense to be in. We don't want to be getting involved in those trades that are sort of less than perfect. It's not going to do anybody any favors. So we want to get in here at 107.50, and then we'll look to take profits if the market comes up there at 108.73. Okay, so not looking for a massive move here, but we certainly don't think that this is going to be the last sort of up move. We don't think this is a beginning of a massive downtrend here. We think if it comes to here, then it will at least go up to that level over there. Okay, Aussie dollar. I actually entered this long last night. So this market is sort of, well, it's been consolidating. If we take a look at this here, you know, since April of 2016, in fact, before then, so roughly since June of 2015, it's not really gone anywhere. We've had some nice swings to the upside and the downside, but really the whole pair has been capped within a sort of 500-600 pip range for more than 2 years, which is a long time. From our perspective, that's quite good because that means that we can pretty much trade in either direction and we'll make money eventually. It has been trading at the highs here. It does have the potential to break out to further highs up there, but we don't see, you know, well, we don't need the market to do that in order for us to make money. So we can just play the volatility at the moment, which is what we're doing. So I entered a long trade in this yesterday night. It's not too late. If I hadn't have entered the trade yesterday night, I'd get involved in it now because it's just gone against me since yesterday night. So I've got an opportunity, would have an opportunity to get in at a better level here. Looking for the market to come up to this area here, which is a previous level of support. So as we can see there, and you can see support there and resistance there. So previous level of support and resistance, if we can just trade up to that level there, the 0.76 from 0.51, we've got about a 100 point move on our hands there. Okay. And the idea with all of the trades that we take is that we want them to be very high probability. So we're only looking to trade from one support level to one resistance level. It really is the easiest way to trade. It's the most consistent way. And it takes a hell of a lot of the discretion, because once you put your lines on your chart, once you understand where the support and resistance levels are, you just trade in the direction of the price. So where you think it's going in the long run. When it pulls back to a support level, you trade it to a resistance. Or when it trades back to a resistance, you trade it to a support level. Okay. The CAD franc. So this one here, we've actually been trying to sell recently. I think it'll come down to there. I think in the long run, it will probably go higher, but in the short term, we think it will go down. Again, this one since 2015 has been in this range over here between 77-ish and 68. So about 1,000 pip range. It hasn't really gone anywhere. We've got momentum to the downside. So we've got this momentum move down here. And we actually sold this last week back here around the 75.15 level. Unfortunately, it's just gone nowhere since then. So it's just gone a little bit sideways. But still very confident that this is going to do what it needs us to do. So we got involved over here. Okay, we sold when the market first came up to this level here. Initially, it went with us very nicely. Then it's gone against us, but that's no problem because we think it will come down to this level here at the 7415. If it doesn't, and it pulls back to 7604, I'll be equally happy to take another trade from here and sell from there down to this area over here. So we'll just see how this plays out. You know, it hasn't come back to this level, the resistance level up at the top here just yet. So our profit target is still down here at 0.7416. Okay, Cookie, any questions at the moment while we're going through all of this? Feel free to fire them across. If you've got any questions, if you've got any specific pairs that you'd like to cover, that's absolutely fine. Okay, Euro CAD. What do we think is going to happen here? Well, Euro is a bit of a funny one at the moment. I'm kind of neutral, so I'd equally be happy to buy as I would to sell. But currently, the position that I'm looking at is, you see, we've got this momentum move up here. Right? You can't ignore these momentum moves. This is from what? February to where we are now. So pretty much a month's worth of price action was just up. We're now getting a little bit of a pullback. And I think it's it's unrealistic to say that this pullback is not going to be met with some sort of, you know, this will be the only move to the upside. You know, we're not going to get any buying pressure down here. I think that's a little bit unrealistic. I don't think this is just going to continue all the way down to the bottom here without pulling back a little bit from a support to a resistance level. So the trade that we're looking at here is if the market come down to 1.4120, we will get long there, and we'll look for the market to come up to 1.4265. So easy peasy lemon squeezy trade there, just as from one level over here up to this area here. We're not looking for the market to do anything fantastic. We're not looking for it to break out of these structure levels again. We're literally just looking for the normal market dynamics to make us money. And that's what's so powerful about this sort of trading system here. Okay, you don't want the market to do anything spectacular. You just make money when it does what it normally does, which swings from one place to the next. Okay, dollar franc, already short this pair here. But if I wasn't, I would get short now. Look at the way that the market has pulled back all the way up here. Again, when you're trading, you've got to run through the different scenarios in your head. You've got to ask yourself, is it realistic that the market goes from here to here and perhaps even up to here without first giving us some sort of a pullback? Do you think it's going to do that? Okay, it's unrealistic. We look at the markets, we look at all of the charts. Apart from when the Swiss National Bank got involved a couple of years ago, it doesn't happen. Every time the market moves, it's always got some sort of a pullback, right? Even this big move here, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it pulls back to this area here. Okay, that big move there. But if you look at the market dynamics everywhere, we've got a momentum move that way, a little bit of a pullback. Momentum move this way, a little bit of a pullback. It happens all over the charts, and that's what we take advantage of as traders. That's what makes us money. We've just got to make sure that we're there to execute when these opportunities present themselves. It says, I'm happy to take a second trade. This is a question, sorry, that's come in. I'm happy to take it, Alex, you're happy to take a second trade at a better price. Generally, how many times would you trade while the price is moving against you? So I split my position up into between 3 to 4 different trades. So I would take into account that it could move against me 3 or 4 levels and adjust my trade size accordingly so that I can get in 3 times, 3 to 4 times. Does that make sense? So where were we? On the dollar franc, we will be sellers if the market comes up to here, certainly. We're already sellers from this level over here. Aussie franc. Okay, let's get some perspective on this one here. So we have an uptrend, which we talked about last week, as we can see here. It's kind of sideways, ugly price action, but ultimately the market is moving higher and higher and higher. What will we be looking for in terms of price action? If it can come down to this sort of area here, that will be a nice buying opportunity to move up to there again. Equally, if the market rallies off from here, we'll then wait for it to come back to this sort of area before we buy again. At the moment, there's no trade on the table, but there does look like there could be some nice opportunities. Aussie Yen. So this one, we talked about this last week and said we didn't want to get involved in buying around here because, you know, there potentially could be some momentum move to the downside. The market has broken through the structure level. There wasn't as much momentum as I thought there'd be, but now we've got to start identifying where it's likely we can get other trading opportunities. So we've got to put in our support and resistance levels for this. And what do we have here? So we've got a resistance level there. I'm doing this off of the 4-hour chart, by the way. We've got a resistance level over here, and then if the market comes down around this area here, got a resistance level, which then could act as support. So we've got a bunch of different levels now beneath the price. When we put these levels in here, it helps gives us a little bit of context. So we've got a bunch of levels in there beneath the price from which we can take the trade. What I would like to see now, okay, is if we take a look, let me go in on the daily. Is that show it? No. Let's go back to the 4 hour. If we take a look, and I get that the candles are all kind of scrunched up here, so you're not meant to be able to see every candle individually. I'm just trying to show you the overall price action to show you what's sort of behind my ideas for the trade here. Now that the market's broken through that level, what I don't want it to do is break back into this area here, because this then may be the start of a reversal in the market moving to the upside. I wouldn't be able to take the sell trade, right? Because we've got sort of like a rejection on our hands, which can be quite powerful. So in order for me to contemplate taking a sell trade from here, I need the market to break down a little bit lower. So somewhere around the 82 area, come down to that area there before pulling back to this support level, 83.77, which I will then sell. Okay, so if we can come down to here, then pull back to there, I will sell that level, because that would be sort of like the market proving that it's still got some downside momentum and it's respecting levels of support and resistance. Okay, so if we can get down to this area here, I'll then want it to pull up. If it breaks back into this range here, then you've got a failed breakout. So it looked like the market wanted to break down here. It failed to break beneath that level, and then it will break back above here. And then what we'd be looking for in that case is we'd then be looking for the market to come back up to this area over here and push up towards the highs. Okay, so a bit of a tricky one here at the moment. It's clearer than last week. All right, so we know where we want to be trading here, but it is really very much a question of patience on this trade here for the moment. CAD Yen. So this one here broke out a while ago. It is in a downtrend. The price action is a bit kind of ugly at the moment, so there's no real place to trade. If you were forced to take a trade, you'd wait for the market to come back to 84.26 and take a sell from that area there. But at the moment, there's nothing on right now. Absolutely nothing. Franc Yen, very much like the Aussie Yen just now, so it's broken beneath a level. The difference with this one is it has gone on a further level. So if the market pulls back to 111.00, I will be taking a sell from that area there to come down to 110.18. Okay, so high probability trade there if we get it. Completely willing to take that trade when we look at all of this momentum here. I think that this pair certainly goes lower in the short term. I'm not saying that it's not going to go higher, you know, in the next few months, 6 months, year, but within the next weeks, I think this definitely goes shorter. So looking for selling opportunities in the Franc Yen here. Euro Aussie. Okay, so looking at this one here, we can see that there is a big downtrend. All right, it goes all the way back here, but we've got this trend line holding it in place here. So there's definitely a downtrend. The short-term momentum has been to the upside, but we still are going to remain sellers in this market here. Where do we want to take the trade? I think if the market can come up to this sort of area here, the 1.4300, we'd be more than happy to take a sell from that area there. Equally, if it gets above there and trades up to 145, 200 pips above, we take a sell trade from there as well. I like the idea of shorting from this area if the market can do it sort of around here, because it's a previous level of resistance. So the market's shown that it treats it as resistance in the past. We then have the trend line coming in here, so we've got a lot going for this trade here. If we can just pull up to here around this area there, I'll be more than happy to be a seller at 1.4300. Euro pound. This one's a bit of a toughie. We thought at the beginning of the year we would break beneath this and we would start to go lower, but it's been actually very, very resilient since then. So from that perspective, the euro pound, I think you can kind of play both the upside and the downside here in terms of price action. What would I rather do? I can see that the market's kind of moving up there. So I would look to take a buy trade if the market can come down to this area here. So if it can come down to 0.8396, or let's call it 0.84, I'll be looking to take a buy trade from there up to this area here. Okay. And for you to put in a trend line, you can see that. Let's make that fatter and a different color. Okay, we'll just put in a trend line here. If it did come back to that level, it will coincide with this area over here. So be reacting to a bunch of different levels there, which is what we like to see. So all right, so at the moment we're looking for a long if it comes down to here. The risk obviously is if it cracks this level here, then we could be in for a big momentum move to the downside. So the euro yen, also last week we decided to kind of leave it alone. It's since broken through that level. Very much the same with the Aussie yen here. So we need to start to pick out some additional levels from which we can trade from, if we can find them. So we have this area here. The trading is all about trying to find the path of least resistance, whereas it most likely the trade is going to go. Oops. This in here. Okay. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the most likely path this is going to take? I think the market can come down to this area here around the 116.39 area before pulling back to this level over here, the 11823. So I'll be looking to take a sell trade in this. If the market can first come down to this level here and then pull back there. Once it does that, I will be taking the sell and I'll be looking for it to come down 200-300 pips to the 11641 level. At the moment, there's nothing that we can really take, unfortunately. So it really is a case of just waiting and seeing. We want to see the market come down here. We then want to see it pull back again. At the moment, we'll just kind of leave it as it is because there is nothing to trade there. Euro New Zealand. So let's get some context around this. From short-term perspective, it looks like momentum is to the upside. Is that the way that we want to be trading though? Let's take a look on the daily. So on the daily, it tells a little bit of a different picture, doesn't it? Different story. So we've got a big downtrend there, but yes, the momentum is certainly to the upside. So how would we like to play this? Well, we are kind of, as I said, with the Euro CAD, we are relatively neutral with the Euro at the moment, as in we're quite happy to take buys or sells. And I quite like the idea of buying the Euro at the moment. I think that people have been selling for years and years and years now, and it deserves a little bit of a respite. So I think looking at this here, even if it were to go to the downside, it's not going to be a momentum move like this here. So I think if the market gets to 151-ish, so 1.51, I'll be happy to be a buyer there for the market to come up to this area here. If it breaks through that and comes down to 148, then again, I'll be happy to be a buyer from that area there as well. So one of these two levels there is where I'm going to be looking to take my trade from. And then again, profit targets will literally just be the next level up. Okay, so you get in here, this level up here, and so on and so forth. Euro dollar is moved violently to the downside there. We all know with the euro dollar, the trend is very, very much to the downside in the long term, although in the short term, it has kind of been recovering somewhat. You know, I think that the euro dollar probably over the next year or so goes more sideways than it does in any one particular direction. So from that perspective, very neutral here. Quite happy to buy the market if it comes down to this area here at 105.00. Equally, if the market turns around from this level here and pulls on up to, let's say, 108.28, I'll be quite happy to be a seller from that area there as well. But more comfortable, and I would prefer it if we could get the buy opportunity from 1.0501. Okay, I think my brother did a article last week for our members where he said that ultimately the longer term positioning for this from a fundamental perspective is he thinks it goes much, much lower than where it is now. So towards parity and that sort of area there. So the opportunities that we look at taking are going to be very, very short term in nature, because his long term view is that it comes all the way down towards parity. My brother in the long term is very, very rarely wrong. So it serves us not to trade against those ideas, even if we want to take advantage of the shorter term volatility. Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie here. So long-term trend is to the downside. I wonder if we have a resistance. Oh, look at that. Look at that, look at that. That definitely deserves some selling, I think. We're up into this resistance area here. Yes, it's kind of breaking through it a little bit, but not too much. So I think we want to be a seller from here. Certainly if the market comes up to 1.6775, that would be a good selling opportunity. But I think selling from here is certainly not a bad one. So I'm actually going to put on a sell trade here. Missed this. Give me a moment. Give me a second. I just need to put on this trade here. So where are we? What's our risk? 16552. About 220 points. Oops. 1 second, guys. Just getting the order in here, and then the orders above. $166.70. If we get out above there, 16991. Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, sure, we have this shorter-term momentum to the upside, but if we have a look at the daily here, we've got a lot of reasons to be sellers. You know, if we put the context around it, is it likely that the market's just going to go all the way up here without having some sort of a pullback in between? I think it's unlikely. So very happy to be sellers around this area here. But let's see what happens. Okay, moving on. Pound CAD, nothing on at the moment. If we get a bit more of a pullback back to the 1.7110, we'd be quite happy to take that trade there. But what do we say, Prince Hello, do you think the New Zealand will reach 67 or the 66 level? Okay, let me jump over to the New Zealand dollar then very quickly, and then we'll come back to the pound CAD. So that's a question that's coming, I guess, from YouTube. Do we think New Zealand dollar will reach 67 or the 66 level? Well, looking at this on the daily, I guess you could say that the long-term trend is to the downside. 67 area. I mean, that's kind of our next, that would be the next resist support area over there. I don't see why not. I think in terms of trading this one here, let's have a look. What would I be looking to do? At the moment, I'll be waiting for a bit more of a pullback there before I started selling. We're looking at this momentum overall. It's a tough one, really. If we got down to 66.83, I would be buying. I think it would come up, return up to this area over here. So yeah, you've got every potential that it could hit the 67 or 66 level. Whether it does that from here and just sells off all the way down to this level, or you first get a pullback here, then the market kind of swings lower and lower, which would bring you somewhere out to around June-ish before it hit that level. I don't know. At the moment, there's nothing that I'm crazy about in terms of trading on this pair here. Okay. So where were we? Pound CAD. Definitely here you can see that we are in a big downtrend. But in terms of immediate opportunities, there's nothing really that I'm in love with at the moment. Pound franc, we've got a bit of a triangle forming here on the dailies. Oops. You take a look. It's kind of aligned with our fundamental view in that it could go either way at the moment. We've got this over here. We've got this. Here, we're coming towards the apex of it. It's going to break out in one way or another. The question, obviously, is which way does it break? Looking at this here with the big downtrend, you might say it's more likely to break to the downside. However, you know, this could be the beginnings of a reversal pattern. Then we get the move to the upside here. So in terms of taking this trade, I would be inclined to say that it breaks to the downside. I would say that it pulls back to this level here. We would sell it at around that level here, and then it would sell down towards this area here, and then eventually break to the downside. So I'm going to be looking for a selling opportunity when it gets up to around the 1.2650 area. Do I trade from my predetermined levels without confirmation first at the levels? Yes, indeed. So I don't wait for price action because it destroys my edge. If I wait for price action at the levels, what happens is you end up getting in later. So your risk reward then becomes a little bit skewed. So this way of trading is the ultimate sort of set and forget, if you like. Yes, you have to do your analysis. You have to engage your brain. But once you've done that, you put on your trades and then you walk away, and then it trades for you, essentially. So taking the emotions out of it. Make sense? Okay, moving on. Pound yen. Pound yen, this one's been a bit of a toughie. Because ultimately we think after a momentum move like that, you get some sort of move to the upside. It doesn't just go like that and then all the way back down. But we've been waiting for that opportunity, and it hasn't been forthcoming as of yet. But have no fear. If we can get the market down to 136.36, we will be buyers of this, looking for it to pull up to this area over here at the 138.70. Equally, if the market pulls up to 142.21, we will be sellers of that level down to 138.79. So we're quite happy to trade this in either direction at the moment. I think looking at this price action here, it doesn't look convincing that it wants to go much lower. So I'd prefer to have a buy opportunity from 136.37 area, or 36 area around here. Looking at the pound New Zealand, well, all of the pound pairs are pretty much carbon copies. We know they've all been in long-term downtrends. The question is being able to find the direction in the near term. And I think the direction here is, let's just pull back from that level here. I think we go short. If we can get the pullback properly to around the 1.7983, or even up here at 18284, I think it's a shorting opportunity, at least down to the next level. At the moment, there's no trade here, but if we get back to 17983, or it breaks through to 18286, I will be shorting that, looking to go down to the next level. Pound dollar. This one here, we know where this one's been going of late. We haven't had any opportunities. Well, actually, there's an opportunity the other week where we sold it from there down to this level here, which would have taken profit last night. So thank you very much. In terms of the next trade here, I don't think there's anything on that I'm crazy about right now. So I'd have to wait to see price develop over the next couple of days or next week or so. New Zealand CAD. Bit untidy. You'd have to say that it was kind of to the upside. You got this trend line over here, like this. If the price can pull back to that area, then I'll look to take a buy trade from here. So I'm looking to buy the New Zealand CAD if it can come down to the 92.00 area. We've just got a couple of minutes left, so let me try and rifle through these last pairs. We might actually get to the end of all of the 28 pairs for once. We've had the markets sell off quite aggressively from there. I'd like to see it pull back a little bit more, maybe to around the 71.60 area where I would look to sell. But at the moment, there is nothing here. New Zealand yen, well, I think this is due a pullback, even though the market is decidedly very, very negative at the moment. It is due a little bit of a pullback somewhere, because as we can see here, it's just sold through level upon level upon level without giving it so much as a thought of a pullback. So, you know, it's gone through this one here, this one here, this one here, and now this one here. So I think buying this for a very sort of quick 100 pip-ish move, a little bit less than that, is probably the order of the day in the New Zealand yen. And then the downtrend will continue. New Zealand dollar, we spoke about this. Dollar CAD, at the moment, nothing major. We were looking at buying this last week, but it didn't come to the level to buy. And then the dollar yen, looking at the dollar yen there, we want to be buyers down here, but the market's really kind of done nothing for us at the moment, so we're going to have to leave that one right now. Okay, so that wraps up all of the pairs there. We've got 2 minutes left-ish. So I'd like to open up the floor to any questions that you have. I'm very popular this morning. And then we'll take things from there. No problem at all, Raymond. Hope you enjoyed it and you found some value in there. So are there any questions before we wrap it up? Do we teach our strategy? Yes, absolutely. We do teach our strategy. If you send me an email at support@traderscorner-online.com, I will be happy to sell you information. In fact, I can type it in down here. You drop me an email to that there and just let me know that we spoke on this webinar here, then we'll hook you up. Okay? Okay. If there are no other questions and we can wrap it up here, I'd like to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody for joining this webinar here. Thank you to FX Street, as always, for putting on these webinars. Really do appreciate it. It gives us an opportunity to speak to our communities out there, and it gives all of you guys an opportunity to get some analysis from not just myself, but from loads and loads of people that FX Street provides you. So thank you so much for all of that. Have a very, very good week in the markets. As you can see, the FX Street just posted the link to the recording here. So if there's anything you didn't understand, please go back and take a look at the recording. Otherwise, have a fantastic week in the markets. And I look forward to speaking to you all on next week's Talk Forex. Take care now and have a good week's trading.